Hi, my name is Frida Sten, and I'm here to talk to you about a book that I read nearly every summer. It is my favorite Cinderella retelling, and it is called Cinders, the Untold Story of Cinderella by Finley Aaron. Now, I don't really like talking to the camera. I'm very bad at it, and it takes a lot of time for me to do. So instead of watching this beautiful face and this beautiful dress, you are going to get to watch me draw a castle with my brush markers. Because that will be most comfortable for me, and I think that's more interesting than watching this stunning face. Even if it's very stunning. Like I said. Anyway, enjoy the review. This is a book review. Did I say that? That's what I meant to say anyway. Bye!
The story is written from the perspective of Cinderella's godmother, who is very annoyed at how authors have reduced Cinderella to just abused, got a pretty dress, went to a ball, drama with a shoe, married a prince. Instead, she wants to tell you how it really happened. How Cinderella was a great swordswoman with a great understanding of trade and how she saved all of Europe. The story starts with the meet-cute of Cinderella's parents, Eleanor, known as Nora, and Robert. Very simply, Robert is a tradesman who has rescued a lot of starving horses from Arabia, because there's a drought over there. And Nora is a horse-loving spinstress. They meet, they fall in love, and have 2 kids. The children were both named after their parents, but goes by Ella and Bertie. The beginning of the book is the siblings traveling with their father, Ella in the disguise of a boy for safety reasons. The siblings start entering a bunch of fighting tournaments and do really well because they've been training with a sword master named Gustav, who wanted to come along and travel. The combination of cross-dressing women who are also fighter is a golden combination for me. I love both of those tropes and enjoyed everything about that aspect of the book. The first turning point comes when Ella has to become a lady and has to be sent away to be fostered by Madame Augusta. Ella hates that, but the family insists. But she will get one last taste of freedom with a tournament near where they live. This is where she meets the prince for the first time. It is also where she meets the prince's cousin for the first time. But now we're getting into spoiler territory, so I'll stop. One thing I hate about Cinderella retellings is how the abuse aspect gets stretched out. Because if you read any version of the Brothers Grimm's picture book, the misery is short, like the rest of it. For this same reason, the romance is also better. This book makes the abuse part a little bit easier to swallow, because even though Ella has to put up with a lot, she is at least able to protect herself from physical abuse. But there is plenty of emotional, mental, financial, and marrying off to whoever she wants to abuse going around. The romance between Ella and the prince is very sweet. Henry is such a sweetheart. He is the kind of guy you would be overjoyed if your friend started dating. As a point of reference, think Nick from Heartstopper. That's pretty much what Henry is. Their romance is friends to lovers, which normally isn't my thing, but it was done very cutely and very sweetly. And even though Cinderella is a swordswoman, she hasn't lost this original trait of kindness through perseverance. Did I say that right? I don't think I did. Anyway, now comes the spoiler part of this video, where I will talk about my most favorite scenes. If this book sounds like something for you, turn this off right now. If not, then let's continue into spoiler territory. My first favorite moment comes from page 56 to 65. It's the first time Ella saves Henry's life. It happened during the foot melee, where Prince Henry, under a different name, just like Ella, are put on the same team. Henry's monster of a cousin tries to kill him, and Ella sees it and shoves Henry out of the way. And afterwards, there comes this very cute exchange where Henry is trying to hide who he is from Ella because he liked the way she treated him when she didn't know who he was. All the while everyone around them knows exactly who he is and are trying to bow or call him Your Highness. And then her friend spills the tea and Ella tries to curtsy, giving Henry his first suspicion that Allard of Caprice may not be male. Because Allard saved him when Allard didn't know who Henry was, Henry now wants Allard to join him when he's fighting in the tournaments, so someone can have his back when his cousin tries to kill him. He continues with saying that such a position usually leads to knighthood, aka everything Ella's ever wanted. But she has to decline so she can go be abused by her soon-to-be stepmother, which is horrible. I don't blame her parents for doing that. It was a different time and they didn't know she would be abused, but it was very frustrating all the same. I'm not sure you can count this as all one scene, but page 142 to 172 are my absolute favorite. It is Ella having a bit of a gender crisis, because Ella has been pretending to be a man for so long that she never gets to be feminine. When her dresses got stolen by her soon-to-be stepsisters, she was so sad. Her complaint is that she never gets to be beautiful. So when she hears there's going to be a ball in Paris, not the ball, just a ball, she is of course overjoyed and wants to do it as a woman, so she can get to wear one of those beautiful dresses that was taken from her. And it just is a nice moment when she's in the dress shop and just gets to reclaim her femininity and gets healed from just this beautiful indigo with silver accent gown. Oh, that dress was described so beautifully, and I thought, this is a Cinderella gown. But there is a problem with this, and that is that she gets massive bruises from the tournaments, and wearing a corset on top of those would be unbearable. So there's a little something that needs to be overcome. And then there's the dancing at the ball. How Henry immediately gets smitten with this girl that comes in with a beautiful indigo silver trimmed gown. And it's a masquerade ball. And she's wearing a silver mask and has a bunch of sapphire jewelry. I like clothes, okay? And then they just get to know each other as much as a masquerade ball allows. Because you're not supposed to know each other. You're not supposed to talk to each other about yourselves in a masquerade ball. But they do a bit anyway, and Ella lies and says she's Alan of Caprice's cousin. You know, the guy Henry has been hanging around with for months. And he is like, wow, I can see the resemblance. And you sit there like, yeah, I bet you can. My last favorite scene is so short, so I'll just read it out loud. It is page 244 to 245. Renwald looked her up and down once more. Little imp, she's rather on the scrawny side. Don't you feed her? He sighed. Not that it matters. I've never looked so forward to claiming my prize. He stood and took a step toward her, his hand open wide as he stretched out his arm to take hold of her. Ella bolted up the fireplace. Quick as a mouse, she ducked inside, scrambled up the familiar bricks, and nearly slipped on her silk gown. In spite of that, she moved up beyond his reach before he even as much as bent his frame low enough to peer up into the chimney. When he did so, a dusting of soot loosened by Ella's upward scramble fell into his eyes. Renaldwald roared in anger. She's gone up the chimney! Up the chimney! After her! Someone get up there! He bellowed as he wiped his eyes. Ella climbed higher, but she needn't have bothered. Neither the Ulster brothers nor Thomas could fit into the narrow space, and Madame Augusta wasn't nearly as strong to pull herself up, even if she had been willing to try, which she wasn't. Smoke her out, Thomas suggested, cackling. Yes, indeed, smoke her out, Madame agreed. Rewald was less excited about that idea. That girl is just stubborn enough to stay in the chimney and die of the smoke. I need her alive. Oh, I doubt she'd die. She'd more likely pass out and fall down, and then we could retrieve her, Madame argued. That's just such a perfect moment to illustrate why, even though the abuse is there, it isn't as bad because Ella, to an extent, can fight back. The reason she's a servant in her own house is because Madame could ruin her family's reputation. It's blackmail, not that she doesn't have the strength to leave. She just would rather be a servant in her own house than in someone else's. To conclude things, this is a wonderful book that I've read nearly every summer since I read it for the first time. It has a lot of heart and should be way more popular than it is. It has only a little over 1,000 ratings on Goodreads. Do I think it deserves as many ratings as Harry Potter? No. I'd be happy to get it into a more 10,000 area. That is the area it deserves to be in. Does anyone else think Twelfth Night is the best Shakespeare play? Or that Mulan is a masterpiece? If you do that, then this book will be perfect for you. And I realize this comes after the spoiler part, so everyone who hasn't read it has probably already clicked off, and so this last part was unnecessary. But anyway, bye!